The performer, the entertainer, singer, dancer, or orator. The character who encourages, uplifts, controls, and oftentimes ends up leading a party. Let's get into the bard in Dungeons & Dragons. Hello everyone, and welcome to Arcana Indexed. Here, each week, we are diving into one aspect of the 2024 edition of Dungeons & Dragons. Usually, we're exploring Unearthed Arcana releases, but we are currently working on a series indexing each of the core classes in this latest edition. Today, we're diving into the Bard. In the real world, Celtic bards were storytellers and poets who kept the oral histories and were often spiritual leaders akin to druids, which actually ties into some of the class features that we'll get into later. But in pop culture, the idea of a bard has evolved into something more. Generally, they tie into entertainers of all kinds. We see examples of this in Dandelion or Jaskier from the Witcher books and video games, Kvothe from the Kingkiller Chronicles, or Hoyd from Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere. It's a pretty common fantasy trope to include a storyteller in a party of heroes, someone to write or tell the tale of the campaign. Bards in D&D are even more than that. They are inspirational magic users who soothe wounds or cut enemies with words as much as weapons. They are masters of enchantment and illusion. Let's start getting into the mechanics. Looking at their core traits, their primary ability is Charisma, surprising no one. They have a D8 hit dice, making them decently survivable, but not as tanky as some of the frontline damage dealers. They are proficient in Dexterity and Charisma saving throws. They get to choose any 3 skills and any 3 musical instruments. They get proficiency with simple weapons and light armor training. When it comes to the instruments, I've always been able to work with my DM to figure out other kinds of entertainment-related proficiencies. One time, I changed an instrument for juggling as an example. If you've ever heard the expression flavor is free, this is a perfect example of this. If we look at their class table, you'll note that they are full spellcasters, meaning they get access to new levels of spell at every odd level, all the way up to 9th level spells by level 17. As we go through the levels, I will try to call out every new spell slot they get, as well as when they get additional spells known, as well as when their Bardic Inspiration die scales. But if I miss one or two, you can always come back here to the table. I'll put a timestamp down in the description. Let's start looking at the features we get at each level. Starting at level 1, we get our most iconic feature, Bardic Inspiration. This allows us, as a bonus action, to magically inspire an ally within 60 feet of us, who can see or hear us. When we do so, they get a Bardic Inspiration dice. Once within the next hour, when they fail a d20 test, they can roll the Inspiration die, adding the roll to the total of the test, potentially turning the failure to a success. You can use this bonus action a number of times equal to your Charisma modifier per long rest. The dice starts out at a d6 and improves with levels as shown on the Bard table. As we go through the levels, I'll talk about each time the dice improves. This is an integral part of the class. Just this feature alone will make your entire party better at everything they do. An important change from previous editions is that now you don't even get the opportunity to use the inspiration until you fail a roll. Before, it got strange because you had to decide to use the Bardic Inspiration dice after you saw the roll, but before you knew the outcome. So you could potentially have used it when you already knew you had succeeded. I saw this happen a lot when someone would roll a 12 to 15. But if you thought the DC was higher than that, you might use the inspiration when you didn't need to. This is just a cleaner version of that. The other improvement is that now it lasts 1 hour instead of just 10 minutes. Again, super solid. The other main feature we get at level 1 is spellcasting. We only know 2 cantrips, and here are all the cantrips we can choose from. But some standout options are Minor Illusion or Prestidigitation for some great utility. As far as combat goes, Vicious Mockery is iconic, but Starry Wisp and True Strike are incredible options now as well. Blade Ward is also a solid defensive option. We get 4 prepared spells and 2 first level spell slots to cast them with. Again, here is the full list, but some standouts are Bane, Command, Cure Wounds, Detect Magic, Disguise Self, Dissonant Whispers, Fairy Fire, Healing Word, Long Strider, Silent Image, Sleep, and Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Basically, they have a lot of good options, way more than you'll ever be able to choose. As far as changing your spells, bards now have what we used to call known spells, as opposed to prepared spells. Now, in the 2024 rules, they call them all prepared spells. But unlike artificers, druids, clerics, paladins, and wizards, we can only change our prepared spells out when we level up, and can only change one spell at a time when we do so. So make sure that you are reading your spells carefully before you choose them. And talk to your DM about your spells to make sure they actually do what you think they do. Please don't assume you know what they do just because someone online told you that's how they work, and that includes me. Because unless that online person is your DM, we can't know exactly how your DM will rule it. And please don't try to surprise your DM with weird or overpowered spell or rule combinations. Talk to them first. Alright, let me climb off my soapbox. Well, maybe let me get back on. Now, if you're a DM, please be nice to your players and let them choose a new spell if they think it works in a certain way or have a mistaken interpretation. I promise it won't break your game. Don't leave a player stuck with find traps because they think it will actually help them find traps. At level 2, we get 2 more features. First up is expertise. This lets us choose 2 of our skills we are proficient in and double our proficiency bonus for those skills. It will really make your bard incredible at the skills they want to be incredible at. We also get Jack of all trades. This says that we can now add half of our proficiency bonus, rounding down, to any skill checks we make that we don't have proficiency with. A change with the way this is worded now means that it doesn't apply to initiative rolls anymore. However, if you use D&D Beyond, it will still apply that bonus there. So I don't actually know if that was the designer's intent or not. So talk to your DM and find out how they want you to run this. In 2014, it was definitely part of the feature. We also get another prepared spell and a third first level spell slot. At third level, as with all 2024 classes, we get our subclass. We will eventually get into all of those, but one thing at a time. We also get another prepared spell and a first level spell slot and 2 second level spell slots. This means we can now learn second level spells. You know the drill, here they are. Some standouts are Aid, Cloud of Daggers, Enlarge Reduce, Heat Metal, Hold Person, Invisibility, Mirror Image, and Suggestion. At 4th level, we get our first ability score improvement or feat. Some standout options are Actor, Fey Touched, Inspiring Leader, Skill Expert to really double down on skill checks, and Warcaster. Of course, if you're going for a Valor Bard or Swords Bard, one of the more martial style of characters, you may also look at the more martial feats, Dual Wielder, Great Weapon Master, Crossbow Expert, and things like that. We also get another prepared spell, up to a total of 7 spells, and another second level spell slot. We also learn another cantrip, so check out my list from earlier. At 5th level, we get Font of Inspiration. This tells us that we now get all of our bardic inspiration back on a short rest instead of a long rest. And our bardic inspiration dice are now a D8. So we should really be able to throw these out all the time. Also at 5th level, we get 2 more prepared spells, and we gain 2 3rd level spell slots. I don't care who you are, but 3rd level spells are the point in the game that casters really start feeling incredibly powerful. Bards are absolutely no exception. Some of the standout options here are Dispel Magic, Fear, Glyph of Warding, Hypnotic Pattern, Leomund's Tiny Hut, Major Image, Mass Healing Word, and Slow. At 6th level, we get our next subclass feature, another prepared spell, and a third level spell slot. At level 7, we are looking at Counter Charm. This is another feature that got drastically improved in the 2024 rule set. Now, it's a reaction to use whenever one of your allies fails a saving throw against a charm or fear effect. And it allows them to roll again, this time at advantage. Meaning essentially they are getting 3 die rolls to avoid it. It's not a limited use feature, so you can just use it every round when someone in your party fails. It will only apply when fear or charm is happening, but honestly, those are 2 of the most common conditions in the game. This is a great improvement. We also get yet another prepared spell and our first 4th level spell slot. Some of the 4th level spells to consider are Dimension Door, Greater Invisibility, and Polymorph. At 8th level, we get another feat or ability score improvement. We also get to prepare another spell, up to a total of 12, and another 4th level spell slot. At 9th level, we get another round of expertise, so we can choose another 2 skills to really put through the roof. And here we also get another 2 prepared spells, a 3rd, 4th level spell slot, and a 5th level spell slot. Some standout 5th level spells are Animate Objects, Dominate Person, Mass Cure Wounds, Rary's Telepathic Bond, Seeming, Synaptic Static, and Teleportation Circle. At 10th level, things kind of go crazy for bards. Here we get Magical Secrets. This ability is pretty significantly different from its 2014 counterparts, so I'm just going to read out the whole thing so I don't miss anything. It says, "You've learned secrets from various magical traditions. Whenever you reach a bard level, including this level, and the prepared spells number in the bard features table increases, you can choose any of your new prepared spells from the bard, cleric, druid, and wizard spell lists. The chosen spells count as bard spells for you. See a class's section for its spell list. In addition, whenever you replace a spell prepared for this class, you can replace it with a spell from those lists." This is so good. So essentially, your bard spell list now includes the bard list, the cleric list, the druid list, and the wizard spell list. I really appreciate that they included druid and cleric, given what we were talking about earlier with the real-world bards being similar to druids or spiritual leaders. Notably, you can no longer choose from spells that are exclusive to paladins, rangers, warlocks, or sorcerers, but this is probably good. But there are still some really good spells you should consider grabbing or swapping out for. At this point, I'm going to talk real quick about the options that are available that are 5th level or below that you might want to consider swapping out for now. Then, as we continue on, I'll just talk about the spells from all their lists when we consider what spells to take. So for now, the spells I'm looking at are Find Familiar, Shield, Misty Step, Scorching Ray, Spike Growth, Web, Counterspell, Fireball, Spirit Guardians, Haste, Conjure Minor Elementals, Conjure Woodland Beings, Bigby's Hand, and Wall of Force. Sorry, that's way more spells than you'll ever be able to take, but you get the idea. There are so many powerful options here. And honestly, these are just the options from the player's handbook. If you start looking at options from setting specific things or third-party content, the list goes even crazier. Also here, you get another cantrip. You can start choosing cantrips from those lists as well, so probably consider picking up Guidance or even Shillelagh. Still at 10th level, your Bardic Inspiration goes up to a D10, you get another prepared spell, and you get a second 5th level spell slot. At 11th level, you get another prepared spell, and you get 6th level spells. Some big ones are Chain Lightning, Contingency, Hero's Feast, Mass Suggestion, Sunbeam, Tasha's Bubbling Cauldron, and Transport via Plants. At level 12, we get another ability score increase or feat. At level 13, we get another prepared spell, up to a total of 17 spells. And now we get a 7th level spell slot. The ones I'd be looking at are Conjure Celestial, Force Cage, Reverse Gravity, and Teleportation. And if it's not banned at your table, Simulacrum. At level 14, we get another subclass feature, and that's it. But it's our subclass capstone, and those are usually pretty solid features. At 15th level, our Bardic Inspiration die increases for the last time to a D12. We get another prepared spell, and we open up 8th level spells. Some options I'd look at are Glibness, Holy Aura, and Maze. At level 16, we get another ASI or feat. At level 17, we get another prepared spell, and we get our 9th level spell slot. There are so many amazing ones: Foresight, Gate, Mass Heal, Meteor Swarm, Prismatic Wall, Shape Change, Time Stop, True Polymorph, and of course Wish. Honestly, each of these could and probably should be a video unto themselves. They are all encounter or game changing and incredibly powerful. I honestly can't think of a 9th level spell bards don't have access to thanks to their magical secrets. Honestly, they could probably have just stopped there and it would still be an amazing class. But let's keep pushing on to the rest of the features. At level 18, we get Superior Inspiration. This says, when you roll initiative, you could regain Bardic Inspiration uses until you have at least 2. It's really good. So if you have the chance, hand the Inspiration out before combat so you can always regain those 2 whenever you roll initiative. Also here, we gain another prepared spell and another 5th level spell slot. At level 19, we get our Epic Boon feat. These are all incredible. We also gain another prepared spell and another 6th level spell slot. And finally, at 20th level, we get our capstone, Words of Creation. Essentially, this gives us access to 2 more 9th level spells, Power Word Heal and Power Word Kill. It also allows you to target a second creature with these spells when you cast them. You still only get 1 9th level spell slot, and frankly, you will probably get more mileage out of casting Shape Change or Wish, but when these come up, it will be really good. Finally, we gain our last new prepared spell, up to a grand total of 22, and we get another 7th level spell slot. Overall, I really like where we're at with the Bard. I do find it kind of interesting how things really take off for them when they hit 10th level and start getting magical secrets. I will say I mentioned in my video last week that most classes get their big power spike at level 11, and it's interesting that both the Monk and the Bard kind of break that mold. I think it brings up an interesting point because that's something that we in the community tend to forget, and that is spells are class features. What I mean by that is in last week's video we were talking about all the cool late game features that monks get, but here the late game features are kind of weak. But the spells you have access to are incredible and encounter-ending, world-alteringly powerful features. If you notice, I mentioned significantly more incredible spells than a bard will be able to take. But it's also possible to go through the entire game and never take any of the spells I mentioned. Can you still have fun doing that? Of course. But your character might be significantly less powerful than a class that doesn't have this level of customization. So I guess the bottom line is, when you're selecting spells, make sure you are paying close attention to what they actually do. And I promise I'm not going to get back on the same soapbox, but talk to your DM to make sure you interpret the spells the same way. Last but not least, if you find yourself playing a bard, never forget to just have fun. I recently did a video asking for people's favorite moments as a bard. I had fun reading the responses and knowing that most of the fun that people have with their bards is almost always more roleplay focused. So go out and live your best theater kid moments. Have fun. That's the whole reason we play the game anyways. If you enjoyed today's video, I put out new videos every Monday, so make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode. Thanks so much for stopping by, and until next time, bye. So you could punch... At 4th... I don't know if you can hear that, but that was annoying. Such is life living in an apartment. Let me do that section one more time. Let's just stop.